So Mel and I were just chatting on our own for 15 minutes, and it was a wonderful chat, but we meant for it to be public so that everyone could access it. Okay, so I have a quick little blurb I want to read about what to expect from our chat today, and then we're going to introduce ourselves, and then we'll take a dive into our crowdsourced questions, and we will have a Q&A. Please feel free to pop into the chat and share what you would like to share as far as questions. Now I wonder if we are sharing on my personal page. You know what? We will download it. We will repost it. We're going to just keep going. Okay, so the blurb is, the purpose of this live talk is to help entrepreneurs pivot their marketing and sales strategy to be sensitive of the current COVID landscape. You can expect helpful, tangible tips on how to create content that's mindful, how to be creative and helpful to your clients right now, and then we'll also have a Q&A as mentioned. So my name is Gina. I'm the founder of Babe Crafted, and I would love to introduce you to our wonderful co-host, Melissa Meredith.
Yeah, I'm Melissa Meredith. I am the owner of Marketing with Mel, a marketing consulting agency, and Content Creative, a full-service content and branding agency.
Right on. Thank you so much for sharing your insight today and sharing your encouragement. So I would love to know a bit about what inspired you to want to share this information today, and what you're looking to have entrepreneurs take away from it.
Yeah, I think right now we're all kind of in a state of uncertainty, and no one really knows the right answers because there really isn't one. But we're all kind of looking for ideas, tips, tricks, things that can help us kind of pivot, cater to our customer, be aware of what's going on, but still feel a sense of community. And I think that the more that we come together and collaborate and talk about what's going on and actually have a conversation, the more that we're not only going to be able to help each other, but get through this together and come out stronger.
Right on. I am so grateful for your time. As I had said, just thanking everyone for staying patient with us. You know, technical difficulties happen to everybody, happens to the best of us. Okay, so let's dive into our first question. So what should entrepreneurs do with the content that they already have scheduled?
Yeah, so I think it's important to kind of look at what you have, and if you've already addressed what's going on, you've already talked about it, don't beat a dead horse. Don't constantly talk about it. Don't talk about it in every post or every kind of promotion that you put out. You know, let it be. We all know, but at the same time, don't be tone deaf. Don't be self-serving. Don't take advantage of a situation. Make sure that what you're putting out there doesn't come off as desperate either. So you don't want people to read like, wow, you know, I can really tell that they're struggling. We all are, and we get that, but your message doesn't have to necessarily convey that. For the most part, I really feel like you can and should carry on with business as usual with an awareness to what's going on. Just because there's a national crisis doesn't mean that you have to throw everything up in the air and start over. You just have to have an awareness, and you have to look at things in a different light and make sure that you're looking at it from the perspective of the viewer and understanding their struggles, and that while you as a business are struggling, so are they. People are wanting an escape right now. So anything that you can do to help them kind of be that escape and be that place for them, I think is important. You can have comments or captions or content that has a subtle nod to what's going on without being like blatant in their face. So maybe, hey, you know, tired of sitting on the couch Netflixing, check out these tips or this video or whatever it is that we put together, without being like, wow, aren't you so tired of this? Like there's a way and approach to do it that's an aware approach without like an over the top approach. I always say, if you need guidance for what to do, look at brands that you respect that are within your industry or within your area and see what they're doing, because you may see a brand and be like, wow, they're doing this and I had thought about doing this, but now that I'm reading it, I definitely don't want to do this, and this is not coming off the way I thought it would. Or it might give you inspiration for things that you hadn't thought of and things to consider doing, that, you know, you can adapt and adjust for your business specifically that cater to your customer.
100%, you know, and, you know, to speak to what you had shared, Mel, I think it's really important to take a moment and really think about what you're putting out there, and what your ideal client needs. We spend a lot of time, on social media, on our newsletters, on all the different types of communication that we have to build know, like, trust with our ideal client. And that's something that hasn't changed. Like, we really want to take a moment to figure out, like, what is it that our ideal client needs right now? What message does she or he need to hear? So it's a really good time to just evaluate what you're putting out there, and pivot, and make sure that you're addressing what's going on, and make sure that you make that person feel seen and heard, and like they're a human being, because they are, and they will appreciate that.
Right. I think it's also important to kind of take this time to keep some things in mind. One is, who's your typical customer? What do they look like? What are they doing? Keep them in mind, but also think, is there someone outside of that maybe could be my typical customer that I'm not normally catering to or considering, but this is a good time to start considering them. What are my current services and product offerings? Is this a good time to adjust? Maybe go online and add an e-commerce website. Is there some kind of service that would actually benefit my customers more that I've been thinking about doing but haven't been doing and can add in? How is this specifically affecting you and your business? So think about, if I had 5 members and I lost 5 members, that's how you were specifically affected. You weren't just a loss of members. And then taking that and understanding, like, what are my goals right now and what are my goals long term, and making sure that you're not just doing things to be doing them because there's been a shift, but understanding that, how am I affected right now? How can I adjust to this? But how can I also make sure that I'm not swaying from what my long-term goals are and what I'm trying to accomplish down the road? Because we will get back to normal at some point, and you don't want to have a complete shift to where now you have to kind of do damage control.
Definitely. Yeah, it's just a really good time to, like, be mindful. Right. And if you're not used to being mindful, like, now's a really good time to just slow down and really figure out, like, what it is you really want to say. Because, when we do recover from COVID, and I'm hoping that this is sooner rather than later, of course, like, our thoughts and hearts are with all those who are directly affected by COVID, like our healthcare professionals and those who have gotten this terrible virus. But when we do recover from COVID, you want people to look back and think that you handled that well and you were helpful, and not over the top, or, that you came off like you were just trying to make a buck, what have you.
Right. And I think it's important to also remember, it's better to, and understand kind of the awareness that's coming from this. It's better to not be remembered because of something that you did right now than to be remembered because of doing something poorly.
Totally. And if you have questions about, like, hey, is this coming off the right way? Or if you're wondering if something that you want to share or promote is coming off in a helpful light, just ask a friend, ask a fellow entrepreneur. It's a really good time to really come together and ask for feedback. It's just, you don't have to do this alone, for sure.
Absolutely.
So speaking of phoning a friend, how would you say that community and connection are playing a part for businesses right now, Mel?
Yeah, I think it's really important to really think about community and connection, and kind of try to focus what you're doing on this. People are looking for that sense of community and connection right now. I know that I mentioned it to you, but even just looking out your window and seeing the amount of people that are going on walks safely with distance, but the amount of people that are getting outside, or FaceTiming a family member you haven't talked to, that sense of connection and community is really strong right now. So if you have been talking about maybe launching a private Facebook group, now would be a great time to do that. And you can talk about things in that private group that maybe you can't talk about on your public business page, and you can help your customer and solve their problems, and provide a safe space to do that in. Something like sending a personal note from you as a business owner to your customers, telling them, what you're going through, what you're dealing with, that you understand their struggles, being there for them, but also, I don't want to say commiserating, that's not the right word, but being there for them to understand that, like, you get it, what's going on, and it's coming from you personally, not just the business. If you have customers that are your regulars that you haven't seen in a while, text them, call them, send them a message to let them know you're thinking about them. there's an example that I really like of community and connection. There's this clothing brand that has fabric swatches. So when they create shirts or clothes or whatever they're creating, any kind of wasted fabric they sell in swatches for you to then use in quilts or blankets or whatever. And in a recent email, they included at the bottom that they were creating a campaign centered around the swatches. They wanted people to share photos of things that they were creating with these swatches. And people were sharing quilts, people were sharing masks that they were creating, people were sharing all kinds of items that were being created from these swatches, and it created this awesome campaign that had a sense of community and connection and promoted the product without the product actually promoting itself.
That sounds like a lovely way to make your client feel seen and heard. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I would love to share an example of a brand that did not make me feel seen and heard, like from a customer standpoint. So I'm going to call them out because I think they need to do some pivoting. But the brand is called Eloquy, and they sell plus size women's clothing. You know, I do like their clothing. I'm not yet a customer, but I've had my eye on, certain pieces, what have you, something that I have been interested maybe in doing in the future as far as placing an order. But what I want to share is that, so I had signed up for text alerts because sometimes when you do that for a brand, you get a bit of a discount. So I did sign up, and I've gotten some text messages lately that made me feel invisible, made me feel like I was just a dollar sign to them, a potential dollar sign, instead of asking me how I am or sharing some kind of inspiration or motivation or just literally anything. I got a notification that dresses were on sale. And I just thought, like, wow, that's so tone deaf right now. Is what we need right now really just that dresses are on sale? I think that I'm looking for something a little bit different, and I think that the average customer is too.
Right. And even, positioning it as work from home dresses or an awareness to, again, what's going on. And it kind of ties back into what we talked about as, look at brands that you like and respect and see what they're doing that you like, or see what they're doing that you don't like. And I think that that's a great example of that.
Totally. And so I want to share a question we have in the chat. So we have Bree of Authentic Edge Design. So she asks if sending regular mail is still a good idea. Like, some people might be afraid about, receiving mail or going to the post office. Like, what are your thoughts on that, Mel?
In my personal opinion, I think mail is actually a really great way to connect. And I think it's kind of a lost art, especially if it's something that you can do where you hand sign it or really put a personal touch on it. I know anytime I get any kind of piece of mail sent to myself, I get really excited regardless of who it's from, what the reason is. So if that's something you have the capability to do, I would definitely move forward with doing that. I think that's a great idea.
Right on. And just quick disclaimer, so neither of us are medical professionals, so we don't have insight on, okay, here's what you should send or what you shouldn't send. I know some people might be a bit concerned about contact, but for the most part, I mean, speaking personally, I have had some mail that I just leave it on my porch for a little bit of like a couple extra days. I mean, nothing right now is like super time sensitive. So it's just on a bench on my porch for a few extra days. And then I bring it in, with sanitized hands and open it. So that's me personally. So again, not a medical professional, but if you are able to send that physical touchstone to a client, that's a really great way to show him or her that, you are in, that you are thinking of them and that you are there for them for whatever it is that they need.
Right. And I think if you do take that approach, it's important to make sure that somehow the outside stands out, because I do know that when I get something and it's not clear what it is or who it's from, a lot of times it gets tossed, and I've tossed some important things on accident. But make sure that if you're doing it, that it's very clear that it's coming from you, because this is, again, a time of uncertainty. So sometimes people may be a little hesitant if they don't know what it is, but if they're able to recognize that it's coming from you or that it's something specifically for them, then I think that that's okay.
Right on. Yeah. And I mean, when you think about it from like a branding standpoint, you want them to get that package or that letter and know like, oh, this is from Bree, I'm excited to open this.
Right. Exactly.
Definitely good call on making it super clear that it's from you and that it's something really lovely that they want, and not something that's like, oh, this is spam mail, and just kind of tossing it in the recycling bin.
Right.
So, what kind of thank you for the question, Bree, by the way. So, what kind of content should we be posting right now on social media? Like, do you have any examples of, people that you've seen pivot really well in this way?
Yeah, so kind of again, I know I mentioned this, but just wanted to touch again that unless your business model has changed drastically or something about your business has changed drastically, there's no reason to drastically change your content or your marketing efforts. Again, you can have subtle nods towards things or an awareness of it, but still stay pretty consistent and carry on with your brand as you typically would. People are looking for that escape, and the more consistent you're able to stay in what you're doing, the more people are going to trust you, and you're going to be able to continue to build that relationship with your customers. This is also a really great time to explore content marketing. And I know sometimes there's a little confusion between content marketing and content marketing. Content marketing is specifically content that addresses the wants, needs, wishes of your customer or client without specifically talking about your product, your brand, your service. So think of, for instance, if you cater to moms, maybe something that moms are going through right now and some tips and tricks that you can share with them that are outside of your business or brand. Content marketing is also a really great way to establish connection, kind of going back to the community and connection with your brand that's not specifically centered around your product or your service or your offerings. And it's catering to your client or your customer from a position of authority without just selling or being self-serving. Again, I'm big on examples and analogies. There was a retail clothing brand that I read about that caters to parents and moms. The clothing brand was for kids, so obviously it caters to parents and moms. And they sent out an email talking about some homeschooling tips, maybe some outdoor activities that you can do while you're homeschooling your kids. I think that they also did a video of like fun games to do if your school hasn't actually provided like school curriculum. So thinking about your customer and client and what they're needing and experiencing right now, and then using your platform to help them and cater to them in that way through your content.
Right on. And so, like, speaking of examples, I was on a call with Cision about, I'd say last week, and these are the folks that own Harrow, Help a Reporter Out. If you are not signed up for Harrow, I highly recommend you do it. It's free. You'll get 3 emails a day on different publications looking for quotes from experts, aka you and your industry. So one example they gave was like, say, for example, for a chef, maybe, folks are not able to come to your restaurant right now, but that doesn't mean you can't go live on Facebook or Instagram and share a recipe behind the scenes and still, entertain and delight and offer encouragement. And maybe even it's a recipe they can make at home with materials that they have, that in their own kitchen. So there's definitely ways you can stay top of mind and be helpful that are a little different than you normally have.
That makes me think of Hotel Bar that's located here in Tampa posted on their Instagram to send them DMs with pictures of what you had in your house in your home bar, and they would send you back a recipe. And if you so felt inclined, you could Venmo their servers tips. So yeah, sign me up for that.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. I love that, it gives you a chance to, we've been talking about like feeling seen and heard and getting to say like, this is what I have, like, let me know what your thoughts are. And the fact that they give you a recipe back, like how fun is that?
Right.
That's awesome. Right on. I'm going to have to go. I hope that they're sharing stories and sharing content because I'd love to go in and see like what kinds of recipes they're recommending for people.
So I saw someone was on like scrolling through all the DMs they've gotten, and it was like page after page of DMs because we're all home and some of us don't have stuff to do past 6, 7 o'clock at night. So
that's awesome. Oh my goodness. Very cool. That's something to kind of like tuck in your back pocket and figure out a way of like, what is your thing that you can do
right.
that like helps your ideal client? What she's at home, like how can you involve her in a way that's not salesy or promotional? It's just like, hey, I want to help you do
right.
X. That's awesome.
Yep.
Okay, so let's see. So our next question is, how can we adjust our offerings to fit what our clients need right now?
Yeah, so I think something that we all kind of are thinking about right now is promotions. as mentioned, don't take advantage of the situation. Don't be tone deaf. Don't talk about something without awareness to what's going on. But you can share promotions and offerings in the type of way that you normally would, again, with an awareness to what's going on. I really look at promotions from 3 different perspectives. There's the profits and pricing, which is looking at offering a discount off of a current product that you have. So maybe it's $10 off this product or a certain percent off X product. Really just looking at the price standpoint of your product and understanding how you can offer a discount to people, or something that you can add on for free. So maybe with the purchase of X product, you get this for free. Just kind of looking at that and thinking about how can I take this and promote it in a way that makes sense and is cognizant of what's going on and isn't self-serving, but still helps and serves my customer. If you have some kind of product that you can sell, maybe it's buy one, get one free. And once you get that product, you can send it to a friend to let them know that you're thinking about them. And you haven't seen them in a while, but hey, I'm thinking about you. I got this, to let you know that, I can't wait to see you again. Partnership. So we've all seen a lot of partnership opportunities coming up. And, unfortunately with this situation, it is what it is, but also I think is extremely inspiring to see what can happen when a community comes together and really collaborates for the same sense of common good. So with that being said, partnership. I think a good way to serve your customer and promote your business, but still, again, provide value is to partner with other companies. So if you go back to that question about who your ideal customer is, think about other places they may be shopping, other businesses they may be frequenting, and think about who you could potentially partner with to create some kind of catered package to that customer that puts your products together. Or maybe you partner with a charity that aligns with your mission and your vision, and you're donating a certain portion of your sales to them right now. It doesn't have to be something extravagant. It can be something minor, but really thinking about who can you align with right now and work together for a common goal. And then the last one is kind of, I say present as in a gift. What can you do right now that helps your customer now, but also has them come back to you later? So what can I sell now, or a service I can sell now that has a gift that not only gives them a discount to come later, but kind of guarantees that they're coming back later. Maybe a $15 gift card with any purchase that they can use at a later date. Or if they book a certain service with you right now for full price, obviously right now being the first one, not necessarily physically right now, then the next service that they book with you, they get 10% off. So maybe if you're a photographer, maybe they get the first shoot at full price, and then the second family shoot that they book with you this year, they get a certain discount off of. So you're understanding what their needs are and what they're wanting, but you're also providing them value in what you're offering. I know that was kind of a lot, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's plenty of great information. And I love what you said about now and later. That's like everyone has heard buy one, get one, but I feel like this idea of like now and later is a really great way to come up with something that can help your client and also help them help you as well. Like everyone knows that, business, it's really tough times right now for businesses and business owners. So I think that's a really cool concept.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, and again, like if anyone has any questions, like please feel free to pop them in the chat and we will answer them. So I have one more question before we go into a couple of crowdsourced questions that we got on social media last night and this morning. So this question is, I want to talk about a perspective shift. So entrepreneurs have a chance to get creative and be helpful to their clients and customers. What are some ways you've seen others do this?
Yeah, I think, I know I mentioned the hospitality industry, just seeing the ways that people have gotten creative to help out the hospitality industry. Businesses saying, with the purchase of any meal, we'll donate one meal to someone in hospitality. Kind of, again, creating that sense of community and offering complimentary or discounted services to people who may not be able to afford it. Being in kind of the agency space, I just saw Dunn & Company, which is a local advertising agency here, is offering complimentary services to any hospitality business that has had to transform their business to be online or all delivering to go. They're helping provide product photography, logo design, and I just think it's really cool to see how people are really willing to kind of give selflessly in order to help the community around them.
Right on. I love that example. Especially targeting some of the businesses that have been hit the hardest, like the restaurant industry, hotels. I have a couple examples I'd love to share too, that I've seen like on Facebook. So one of them is a fellow Babe Crafted member. Taylor Prater is a part of Babe Crafted, and she is the co-founder of Made Coffee. If you haven't had Made Coffee, do yourself a favor and find some cold brew. You can order it on Instacart, I'm sure. So they have posted on Facebook that they are donating pallets of coffee to those in the healthcare industry, to fuel their fire, like both literally and figuratively, of letting them know that locals are really appreciating their efforts. So shout out to Made Coffee for that. A marketing whisperer, another member, so her name is Brittany Ward. She has created a website called Tampa Bay Goes Live. Have you seen that on Facebook, Mel?
Yeah, I love that idea.
Right on. So that should be going live any day now, but it's all about highlighting businesses in Tampa Bay that are going virtual to stay active and remain involved with the community and lift everyone's spirits. So that's really phenomenal. And then I have two more quick ones. So St. Pete, athletic based company, the Body Electric. So they do yoga, and they also recently launched their athletic gym. So they've made a big pivot, and they have offered all of their classes online. And then they set up a way to pay them through Venmo or a gift card. I wanted to say that. So my friend Amy, her husband's in the military. She lives in Brussels right now, and she shared a photo of herself in her living room doing a yoga class hosted by the BE. How cool is that? Like a continent away. Excuse me. And then one more. So a designer in Orlando created a food takeout bingo card to inspire locals to support local businesses.
That's awesome. Those are all really great examples, not only just in general, but also I feel like those are all members. So that's a really great example too of the awesome women that are part of Babe Crafted.
Totally. Super fortunate to have a couple of these gals in the membership, and just to see what even like ladies and guys outside of the membership are doing in their community. Some of these things are just selfless, and they're looking to donate, raise awareness, be helpful. And some of these things are, a way to keep their business moving forward and keep serving their community. Not to say that's not selfless, but that are directly tied to, keeping the doors open in some form or fashion, in the same way that restaurants are going completely to go. Fitness studios, a lot of them are trying online classes to continue to keep the doors open and, keep staff, bringing in income. So it's really cool.
I think it's really interesting too to hear some of those pivots, because I've heard a lot of I've been wanting to do this forever, I just haven't had the reason or the time. And obviously, again, unfortunate situation. We never want something like this to happen, but it's always interesting to hear about the good things that do come out. So all of these things, to me are good things, and they're parts of a business that maybe are going to create a whole new revenue stream for them that wouldn't have been there before. And again, extremely aware to the negativity of what's going on, but I just think it's kind of neat to see people being able to think on their toes and really help others in a time of need from a selfless standpoint.
Totally. So wonderful to get to hear a lot of these examples, again, you are not alone in this. We've never experienced this before, and we're going to just keep sticking together. Okay, so I want to go through a couple crowdsourced questions with you, Mel. So the first one is, so I think a lot of us are feeling this, how to not feel guilty while keeping your business afloat. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I think that unless you're doing something that's, again, extremely self-serving or tone deaf, don't feel guilty. We all have to make an income. We all have to make a living. We all have to get by right now. I think that kind of question also kind of feels like a little bit of a self-development question, not necessarily a business question. So maybe think about a book you could be reading or a podcast you could be listening to or some online resources you could be working through to help you kind of overcome those feelings or deal with those feelings so that you can put your soul and energy into helping and serving your clients. Because you do in this situation have to put yourself first a little bit, because if you're not okay and your cup isn't filled, then you can't help serve your clients and you are going to have those feelings.
Totally. So there's nothing wrong with being a business owner, you know? I mean, this doesn't change the fact that you have a business and you're an entrepreneur, but there's definitely a way to keep yourself afloat and keep moving forward that isn't tone deaf.
Exactly.
So don't feel guilty, you know, keep moving forward and just, you know, find ways to pivot your messaging so that you are coming off in the best light possible and making your ideal client feel seen and heard.
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so we have another question. How to help clients with a physical business. So what are some tips you have for restaurants, coffee shops? I know we've kind of touched base on this in different aspects throughout the chat, but let's answer this from a strictly like brick and mortar position.
Right. Yeah. And I think also too, this question is interesting because it talks about the angle for how can you help your clients. So, as you mentioned, we have touched on this in a way, but I think it's important to take these ideas and if you're thinking on behalf of your client, how can these ideas apply to your client? How can you take these and either elaborate on them or build on them to help serve your client? And during this time, you know, you really have to be your client's biggest advocate. You need your client to be able to focus on their business and focus on the things that are going to drive sales. And it's your job to get creative and think about the different ways that you can market and drive business for them so that, you know, they are able to stay afloat and you're able to continue your partnership. I think that if they're a retail store that's still open, I think a great idea that I've seen was helping them or giving them the guidance to host some kind of Facebook Live where people can shop in the comments. I apologize, I'm going to reference my notes because I wanted to make sure I touched on this. If they aren't online and don't currently have a website, maybe that's something that you can help them build right now with the idea that maybe you can have a payment plan for later if it's not in their budget right now, but it's something they urgently need and you can help them with. Something too is if they don't have some kind of current promotion or special going on, brainstorm with them with kind of the ideas and the things that we've talked about on what they can do as a business to continue driving sales with an awareness, again, to what's going on, who their customer is, what they're needing. Maybe together you can brainstorm something great that creates a whole different business model that maybe you wouldn't have thought of prior. So I don't necessarily have a specific answer for that. I know that we've, again, kind of touched on it, but I think the key here is if you're talking about a client to business relationship, just communicate and understand that like you're their biggest advocate and you need to get creative on behalf of them, and you may have to take the lead a little bit more than you normally do. And I always say it's better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission.
Right on. Yeah. And, you know, some of the things that you had touched on earlier were like the now and later idea, you know, the example of the hotel bar that is having their customers basically like send them a list of what they have in their home bar or a picture of what they have, and then they send them a recipe back of what they can create, a cocktail they can create at home. So there are definitely some really good ideas and tips in this chat that can help you pivot and be really helpful for your clients that have like a physical space.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So when can service-based professionals start meeting with clients again? So of course, we don't know when it's going to be safe to meet again. You know, we're watching closely. I say we, like the world is watching closely COVID and trying to manage you know, the outbreak. But what are some ideas that a service-based professional can do to meet with their client, you know, and still serve their client, even though they can't, you know, do that video shoot or meet for that photo shoot, what have you?
Yeah, I think Zoom is a great tool right now. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of it. I'm sure there's equally as many that haven't heard of it. Zoom is a free video conferencing tool. I personally, since I have a G Suite account, Google Hangouts is included with any kind of G Suite email. So Google phone conferencing and video conferencing is included for free. Facebook Messenger also has the video feature. And I think it's important to continue to try to have those meetings and have them virtual via video or phone and still kind of carry on and keep things moving as much as possible. And understanding that, as soon as you can get back in those face-to-face meetings, you will. But something else I think is important to note that even once all of these restrictions are lifted and maybe the first couple of weeks of business as usual, make sure that you're emailing your clients before your meetings and making sure they're comfortable, because even though you're eager and you're ready and you want to get back in front of them, they may still have a little hesitation and want to hold off a couple more weeks before being face-to-face with you.
Right on. That's super helpful. Like, it's just such a good time to reach out and touch base with clients. Like whether it's hopping on a video call or sending an email or sending something by post. Another thing like that I've seen, I'm sure you've seen this too, Mel, that business owners are doing is having virtual happy hours.
Yep.
So that, just same, excuse me. So just because we can't meet in person doesn't mean we still can't get to know one another and build relationships. So I think a really great way to, of course, you probably wouldn't have a virtual happy hour with a bunch of clients, but it's a really great opportunity to meet fellow industry professionals, maybe folks that are in similar industries, and get together. It's really helpful for not only like supporting one another, but setting up referrals. So that could be a really great thing to use some of this time that maybe you would normally spend at a networking event, get together with a handful of industry pros and get to know each other and set up that support and referral program now.
Yeah, so it made me think of, I know it's not necessarily like business related, but Cards Against Humanity, you can actually play online in a virtual room. My fiance and I and 4 others played Cards Against Humanity in like an online chat room, and then had a group Facebook Messenger chat going at the same time so that we could see each other while we were playing. Obviously not necessarily a business suggested activity, but it was really neat to see how many different tools and resources and technology assets are out there to kind of help life continue on as normal as possible.
Totally. And speaking of like things that we've seen others do that even though they're not directly business related, like you can take inspiration from it and incorporate it into your business. So my fiance's friends in Boston, so their little daughter, she's, I believe 7. She might be older, sorry, Julia, but she recently had her birthday, and of course she couldn't have a birthday party, but she hopped on a Zoom call with family, and they were able to wish her happy birthday. She's had virtual play dates. So, you can take inspiration from this for your business, for networking purposes, and then even like away from a live standpoint, what if you sent your clients a video message and it was something they could open by email or on Instagram? I think it's just really important to continue to show up and be the face of your brand and just show them that you are literally here for them. So there are definitely a lot of opportunities to, communicate with your clients, as well as maybe continue networking and stay top of mind for potential clients.
Yeah, I actually just got a video recently that was a screen record. I forget what the tool is. I'll have to look it up. But it was someone that I'm working with that had specific instructions on how to do something that they normally would have shown me in person, but instead use this tool to do like basically a screen record that they voice over and talk through while they're doing the steps on the computer. So I knew exactly what I was supposed to be doing.
That's awesome. I've heard, so if you have a Mac, your QuickTime player can do that for you, or you can also use a program called Loom. I hear really great things about that. Nice. Yeah. So there are ways to really showcase that you are the real deal, and that you have what your ideal client is looking for. And one of these ways is to show up on video, whether that's a live video or that is a virtual private video or sending a video message, like send a Loom video. I mean, like just hop on video, please. So Christina, thank you so much for, this was Christina's questions. She says, can we have a virtual happy hour? 100% yes, we will get that on the calendar.
Okay. Get Hotel Bar to give us cocktail recipes.
Yes, so we'll start there. And then we will move over to the happy hour, and we can get a little tipsy together. So I have a question about Facebook ads. So is it The question is it sensible for small e-commerce businesses to invest in Facebook ads targeting a local audience?
Ooh, I think that there's a lot of factors that go into that question. One is, what are your goals and what is your budget? So if you have $500 to spend and you're looking to at least get that $500 back, if not more, Facebook ads are probably not the route to go. Facebook ads are definitely a pay to play space. And most of the clients that I've worked with, we start at a minimum of 1,500 and go up. That's not to say you can't see results in other ways, but especially if you're trying to promote a product or sell a product using it, I would probably not suggest that as the first option. Again, just based on ROI and what you're looking to accomplish, I think that there's probably other ways that you can approach doing that. And please reach out. I'm happy to help. But that would not be my first suggestion.
Right on. And I definitely second that. I feel like, especially, there are a lot of factors at play. And one of the questions I would have is, well, are you already doing Facebook ads?
Right.
If you are starting to do Facebook ads because you're concerned about income, I think that, I would rather you spend that money in another way. Some ideas, if you're looking to drum up some promotions, if you're looking to get in front of ideal clients, a really great way to do that is maybe host a collaborative giveaway with a handful of business owners, trying the now and later idea that Mel has mentioned, the hotel bar idea. How can you serve your clients differently now, without necessarily spending a bunch of money on advertising?
Right.
And so, not to say that you shouldn't invest in your business right now. I just think that, especially if things are really tight, you want to make sure that where you spend your dollars is really going to deliver for you. And Facebook ads are kind of a beast. Of course, you can play with $5, $10, $20, etc. But just be careful and make sure that you're doing it with a specific goal in mind and not doing it just to do it.
Right. And I think that there's also a misconception between a boosted post and ads. So you can go in and have a post that's already performing well organically and put $5 or $10 behind it, or a post that is just an organic feed post that you want to push out to a few more people. I think that that's a great idea. But to actually knowing what it takes to create a full scope campaign and the time and energy and the amount of dollars it takes to really make a campaign successful, that's a little different.
Right on. Andreka is asking, what about Pinterest ads, especially for a photographer?
Yeah, photography is a really hard space right now. So my heart is with you. Obviously, you're relying on being face to face with people. So I think that if you're going to run Pinterest ads, it needs to be something that is forecasted in the future. So something that you're offering in the future, something that even as, again, you can promote content marketing. You don't have to promote something that's specifically sales or promotions driven. If you create a really great piece of content that helps educate people on, maybe for the time being, how they can take photos for themselves, and then, hey, by the way, I'm a photographer, that's going to help serve your audience in a way that connects with them and helps them and serves them without pushing your product.
Right on. And another follow-up question. So Christina is asking, when you say Facebook, are you talking about Instagram too in regards to ads?
It's up to you. You can do either or both. Again, I think anytime that you're looking at advertising and you haven't been doing it before and you're in kind of the time that we're in, it goes back to business as usual. If you haven't been doing it in the past, this probably really isn't the time to just jump in and start doing it on Facebook or Instagram regardless.
And to your point, Mel, it's not to say that you shouldn't boost a post. I mean, you can put $5, $10, etc. behind a post that is doing really well. But as far as advertising, just be careful where you spend your money, especially as things are really tight right now in your business. If you have like further questions about advertising, like please feel free to send a message. Mel has been really great about, you can reach out to her. And if you'd like a part 2 to this this marketing talk, like please let us know, because I feel like, of course, we're not going to be able to cover everything, but we did want to cover some of the most asked questions we've seen. So feel free to let us know in the comments if a part two is something you'd be interested in, maybe with an emphasis on something like advertising, what have you. Okay, so we have gone through all of our questions, but I want to share a couple of tips on things that you can do to stay top of mind and also ask for help in a way that doesn't involve selling specifically. So as we said, everyone knows that this is a super tough time for businesses right now because everyone is at home. People are being careful with how they're spending their money. So what are some ways you can stay top of mind and ask for help? Of course, we want to help each other. So one of the ways we came up with was testimonials. So I'd love to have you share some tips on testimonials, Mel.
Sorry, I had something in my eye right when you asked that. I think testimonials are great. And again, getting back to that personal touch, you can always at the bottom of an email say, hey, by the way, if you've had a really great experience with us in the past, we'd love to share or love for you to share a testimonial with us. Or if you have a specific customer that you know that you have a really close relationship with, feel free to email them personally and just say, hey, with what we're going through right now, it would mean the world to me if you could share, your experience with us in the past. I think testimonials that are asked for from a very specific and personal place are great. That doesn't mean that there's not many other ways to ask testimonials, but I think specifically in this time, knowing what your intention and your goal is from that testimonial, I think reaching out to people personally and asking them for that is a great idea.
Right on. And the cool thing about testimonials is not only is it going to help you now, but those testimonials are going to help you 3 months from now, 6 months from now. Testimonials are evergreen and you can use them on social media, in your newsletters, on your website. So Now is a really good time to, of course, focus on things that maybe you don't normally have time for. And one of those things is sourcing for testimonials from clients. So that's a really good idea.
Something else too is the emergence of the video testimonials. So with a lot of people home right now, if you have someone that you know, like, and trust that's an advocate of your brand and has purchased from you, and you know that they're home and they're comfortable, you can always ask for a video testimonial and someone to talk about, what their experience was with your brand and share that. That's, again, a good way to incorporate video and testimonial together and have content that is, standing out from kind of the noise that we're seeing right now.
Totally. And speaking of video testimonials, so Bree is saying that people have time to give them 100%. All it takes is a minute of their time to set their phone up and record a testimonial for you that you can utilize in so many different ways, both today and well into the future. So testimonials are super important. And now is a really great time to ask for help and ask a client to send you one.
Absolutely.
And of course, you can send him or her a thank you for their time. You can send them a little gift card. Not only does that thank them for their time, but then you're also supporting another local business. So keep that in mind too. You want to make sure they feel that you appreciate their time.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So testimonials, another opportunity of a way to stay top of mind and ask for help is email list, growing your email list. So what are some tips you have in this regard, Mel?
Yeah, so I think going back to what we talked about in content marketing, utilizing content marketing is a really great way right now to kind of build that email list. So giving someone something in exchange or return for their email address. Having a pop-up on your website and they get some kind of free download or content marketing piece, or if they sign up for your newsletter, they get 10% off. Those are things that people would expect to see normally with or without kind of what's going on. So creating that system or process, whether it's a drip campaign or however you process it, I think is a great idea, not only for now, but it helps you kind of build that list so that social media isn't the only way that you communicate with your customers.
Totally. And speaking of social media and email lists, if Instagram went away tomorrow, how would you keep in touch with all those followers that you've worked so hard to connect with? Whether you have 300 followers or 3,000 followers, it's really important to make sure that you are building a connection off of social media, off of Instagram. So it's really good use of your time right now to create that email pop-up or an opt-in where they sign up and they get something in return, whether it's a discount, free shipping, or some kind of a downloadable that you send them that has educational content. So another thing that is not only a good way to stay top of mind, but also just a really good use of your time as you have some extra time for projects that you don't normally have the availability for.
Absolutely.
Okay, so our third and final tip as far as staying top of mind and asking for help is referral programs. So what are your thoughts on that, Mel?
I think referral programs are a great idea. And I think, again, there's been a lot of common themes here, and one of them being community and connection. A referral program is a great way to do that right now. You can offer someone a discount or some kind of bonus if they refer a friend. And then that also helps whoever the person is that's doing the referring create a connection, reach out to a friend, maybe someone they haven't, spoke to in a while. There's different ways you can do it. You can send an email and say, hey, forward this email to a friend that, is looking for the product or services we offer. Creating a Facebook post and just letting people know that, hey, right now we understand what you're going through and we want you to be able to be connected. If you mention us to a friend, we're happy to provide you guys both a special gift in appreciation for you referring us.
Totally. Right on. And so like gifting a friend, setting up a referral program, if this is not something you already have in place, this is a great time to set that up and communicate that it's something that you offer. Like, your customers are not mind readers. Like, make sure you tell them this is something you offer. So testimonials, growing your email list or starting an email list, and setting up a referral program. Really great ways to ask for help in a way that are not directly selling. People are looking for ways to give back and support one another. And then it doubles as a way to stay top of mind to your client. So this is
oh,
yeah, go ahead, girl.
That's where I forget too. A lot of times as the business owner, all of the services you offer or all of the intended uses for a product or services, but your clients don't. So another good way to kind of utilize content or content marketing is maybe you have a product that you get a lot of questions about what to do with it. Create a video about the multi-uses of it, or create a video about a service you offer that maybe helps with people a lot right now that people don't know you offer. You can really take this time to get creative and kind of expand past just your normal day-to-day of what you're doing to really dive into who you are and what you offer and what you do, especially in the sense of how it matters to your customer and how you're able to provide value and cater to them.
Good call. Thanks for sharing that, Mel. And I feel like I hope that it's come across this way, but I want to just emphasize that, we're definitely having like a dual conversation right now. Like, this is both about serving your current existing clients and making them feel seen and heard. And they definitely have your attention, but then also, there are definitely ways to cater to potential clients and people that you are not necessarily already working with. So You definitely don't want to just totally drop one or other of these two audiences. So just make sure that you are thinking in both terms.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mel.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. This is great.
Of course. And thank you so much to these ladies with their questions. Andreka, Heather, Christina, Jessica, Bree, Elena, Clarissa. Who else we have here? Rowena, Marina, Jesse. Okay, so I think we got everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in and for sharing some questions. This was phenomenal. And of course, you're in our thoughts. Let's keep sticking together. We're going to get through this.
Maybe a part 2 to come.
Yeah, part 2 to come. Stay tuned. If you'd like a part 2, let us know.
Thanks, Gina.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, Mel.